I've been filming with Jack from town, or Jacko, pretty consistently for the past year or so, and he's gotten me super into foiling, and so I thought it'd be really interesting to break down a raw Waikiki run from Publix all the way down to the famous Pink Hotel here.
What's up, YouTube? Here we have a raw clip of a downwind shore runner I just did in Waikiki. We had a south swell mixed with southeast wind, so that's onshore on the south shore. And not a lot of surfers today, but perfect for foiling. Had the entire foil community out scoring rides. So right here, I just locked in to a wave. I caught a wave, pumped out, and now I'm locking on this swell right outside Publix. Going pretty fast right here, hanging on. But while I'm riding, I'm looking out to my left, making sure there's something to connect with. Right here, high five my boy Kainoa. He's learning how to do some downwinder, so he was out there paddling. I'm pumping, and I see this one right here, but I go past it because there's an even bigger one outside. And I want to get as far out as I can because my end point is the Royal Hawaiian Hotel. So I want to make sure I'm far enough out, and this looked like a pretty good wave. Hooking into it, and right now I'm locked in. At this point, I'm passing outside walls right by Kuna's, the surf spot, approaching Queens. Do a couple cutbacks, say what's up to my boys at Queens trying to surf. Brought a Loa, just caught a wave, so I peeled out, and Loa just slammed it, fell, unfortunately. But then I'm pumping back out on the next one. So right now I'm like right in between Canoes and Queens in the channel on this little bump. Ran a couple cutbacks, and I'm on the wave here, but I'm already looking out to my left again to see where the next opportunity is. So milking this one, kick out, and look to see where the next kind of swell line is. Now I'm at Canoes, the main break, hoping to get over to the Duke's Lane sandbar section of Waikiki. And right now I'm just pumping. Small little wave, use that to connect, rest the legs. And even though it doesn't look like a pretty big wave, there's still a ton of energy happening. So draw a couple cutbacks, do a couple turns, and then continue to my left, working left with the Royal Hawaiian Hotel as my target. And using all these little wind swell waves at Canoes to make my way over to the sandbar. So right now, this is pretty much the sandbar section of Canoes. The OGs know it as Duke's Lane, right in front of the Duke's Waikiki restaurant. And this is where a lot of people learn how to surf. So being mindful of the crowd, but still holding my line, trusting my knowledge of the surf break, making sure I don't kill any tourists. And right here, it went kind of flat on me, but you know, the waves are small. We're already inside Canoes, inside the bay, and enough power to just do some steezy cutbacks, feel the foil, and ride with style, implementing some of that longboard style that I grew up with into my foiling. So some cutbacks, and nearing the end of my ride, 3 minutes already, and some of the funnest ways you can enjoy an onshore swell day in Waikiki. And of course, we don't like to paddle, so foil right up to the beach and jump off onto the sand. That's my run. That was my breakdown. And now I have a long walk all the way back to Publix. Thanks for watching, guys.
Is there anything else to be mindful of when you're connecting on the
Yeah.
inside? Like, I think there's a couple
Totally.
double up points.
Totally.
And just like talk about like why you stayed on some of those double ups versus trying to bounce out to like a bigger wave.
So the one thing that's different between the Waikiki run versus a Hawaii Kai run is that Hawaii Kai run is purely wind swell, and the Waikiki run is ground swell mixed with wind swell. So you have bumps happening that are the slower, smaller swells, and then you have like the bigger ground swells that are pushing at a much faster speed. So whenever I'm turning into a swell, I'm always looking about 10 feet in front of where that wave actually is, because by the time I get to that wave, I'm already too late. So making sure you're in front of that wave, turning in early, anticipating that ground swell to move fast. And then when you do get to a spot where there's a double up, you always want to get in front. Unlike downwinding, you don't want to stay in the bump. You always want to get in front. And with downwinding, traditional downwind ocean swells, you always want to stay in the pocket and never chase. When you're doing the Waikiki run, since there's ground swell and wind swell mixed together, you want to chase and get as far in front of that moving ground swell as possible. And when you're approaching the Waikiki section, the most important thing is being aware of tourists and people learning how to surf, because, you know, when there's 30 foilers flying down the coast all day through Waikiki coming in, it's really easy to be in the zone, but being aware of the surf spots. Canoes and queens are the main ones, and then also the people learning at baby queens. So just being mindful of where those people are and not coming super close to them. Of course, you're not gonna, mess up your line just because there's surfers in the water, but I think just having that in the back of your mind is important. And if you want to bring some slippers, throw them in your shorts, in your waistband, because that walk back to Kaimana Beach can get pretty hot on the Kalakaua asphalt. So those are my tips for the Waikiki run. Next time it's windy and bombing, hope to see you out there. Aloha.
Boom. Huge thank you to Jack for breaking down that run. I've been just getting into foiling, and something that's been really helpful to me is these kind of raw, real breakdowns that are a little bit slower, just so I can watch and truly see everything that's going on. So these are awesome, in my opinion. If you're into them, let me know. I know it's a lot different than the normal content that I've been putting out, but please let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, give it a like, please, and subscribe to the channel if you want to support me and my future foil endeavors and whatever other shenanigans that I'm going to get up to. Thank you guys for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one.